Welcome to Blunt Wisdom Podcasts. We are your hosts, Jazz.
Gina.
Welcome back to another episode. I'm sorry to have to do this to you people, but we're breaking up. It's about that time, and me and Gina have had our differences, and we're going to talk about them.
Just kidding. Yeah, so we're not breaking up, but the episode today is about breakups.
Breakups.
So,
Breakups.
yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to share some tales today.
Yeah, definitely. Basically, like, one of the quotes I have wrote down is, like, you learn more about love from the people who walk away than you understand your self-worth. That's how you understand your self-worth. Let me say that again. You learn more about love from the people who walk away. That's when you understand self-worth. So breakups are not necessarily bad things. Once you close one door, it's always another one to open. One, two, or three, or four. So
exactly. Sometimes some things have to come to an end in order for you to kind of realize where you're supposed to be or what a relationship is kind of supposed to be like.
yeah, what you want out of the next relationship.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
you don't want out of the next relationship.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess I'll start.
Her worst breakup story.
Worst.
Or just a breakup story.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah. I was gonna say because I have one that's bad. But I'll tell you. I mean, okay. So this one was with my child's father. That one, I guess emotionally, it was the worst story because the other ones were just
because
physically.
you have a child together.
And yeah, because you bring a child into the world with someone that you don't want to build a family with and you see forever with, but then certain things happen and you kind of have to pull yourself out of them. It was a long time coming. There was a lot of infidelity in that relationship, and it just took, in a sense, it took for me to have my kid to be able to see that this is not a healthy situation.
Because you didn't want him to
because I didn't want him to grow up in just an environment of just arguing and me being emotional. It wasn't. I had to do what was best for him, and I just didn't want him to grow up around all that. Because sometimes we think that we kind of have to stick it out because of the kids, and in certain situations, yes, right, where it's fixable, and where it's not such a shitty environment.
Right.
But this one, I had to pull myself and my son out of there. I remember, and it's crazy how there's certain memories that you just remember like it literally happened 2 hours ago. It's insane. It's like, it was a very heated argument. Actually, you were there.
When he had you up on the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gina was there.
Yeah.
That was, she had to kind of come in between.
Kenya was there too.
Shut up.
We were both there.
Oh. For some reason, I only remember you there. But yeah, so she kind of had to come in between before it went to the extreme. And that day was just, I literally just got my kid. I keep trying to say his name. I got my son and I left. I mean, luckily my mother lived really close to where we were living at the time. So that was just like, that was the day that I couldn't, because I'm like, there's no way that I can have my son in this situation. It was going to get really bad one day. I could see it, that it was just going to get really bad, and that's not the type of environment that I want him in.
Once there's violence involved, like, you have to try to do any and everything you can to get out of that situation, because like you're saying, like, once there's a child involved and you allow that child to grow up and seeing that type of violence, like, that shit triggers onto them, and it becomes
their norm, and I didn't want that for him. So that day I just, it was a heated argument. Things almost went too far, and then I was like, I'm out. Like, I need to go. So I grabbed my stuff, and then I walked out, grabbed my kid, grabbed my stuff, and I left, and never looked back since. And it was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
agreed.
Yeah.
Goes back to saying, like,
Yeah.
it's okay to break up sometimes. In the moment, you might not feel like that.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
might feel like it's the worst thing in the world because
Yeah.
at that moment it is. It is the
Yeah.
worst thing.
Yeah. And it took a long time to get there because, I mean, we had little breakups here and there,
Yeah.
but then we rekindled or whatever. But it was just brewing and brewing and brewing to the point where you just explode and you're just like, okay, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, everybody reaches
Mm-hmm.
their limit at a certain point. Like, there's only but so much anybody could deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And this is kind of why I tell people a lot too that you shouldn't hold things in because the more you hold in, eventually you just it just comes out, and
Explode.
sometimes it doesn't come out in the best way because you just keep holding, holding, and holding, and it just
Like a
comes out.
shaken soda bottle.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that was my worst one. It was just very it was just very heavy. It was a very tough decision, but I'm glad I did it because you know sometimes I question like what it could have been like, but it was it was not. Done what I wouldn't have had done what I'm doing
Doing now.
for my son now. Like I'm putting him in all these activities and all these sports and trying to keep him busy and just trying to give him the best I can. So I don't know if I was still in that situation if I would have, because I don't know if
You would have
he
been
would
as
have shared
focused.
my same enthusiasm for him to be,
Right.
into like sports and stuff. So, but I just feel like I made the best decision, and I'm glad I did it.
Well, obviously, because you're here.
Oh well, yeah, right.
And shit, everything happens for a reason.
Chess.
So, absolutely.
Chess.
Definitely, um, feelings are temporary, decisions are permanent.
Mm-hmm.
So, you might feel how you feel for that moment, but once you make a decision, it could just make your life so much better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's my story.
Definitely. Worst breakup for me, I mean, I've touched about it a little bit. My past relationship was probably the worst because it was just so much like on and off and not necessarily understanding who I am as a person and dealing with a lot of things that I shouldn't have. It was very different from my first relationship because my first relationship, like, we had a lot for all the bad times that we had. I had plenty more good times.
Yeah, so it
With
kind of
that
outweighs
relationship.
the bad.
So, and we grew up together in my first relationship, so it wasn't as bad. Like, we had a lot of love for each other. Like, in that relationship, like, you knew that was my man, and like, vice versa. Like, you saw him, you know that's Gina. Same thing. So, with the past relationship, it was not that. It was a lot of questioning. It was a lot of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where he was at, a lot of just not understanding one another, him going through a lot of things within himself and his healing journey and just blaming it and playing victim, and it just was not a good dynamic. Like, he was not mentally fit to even be in a relationship, and I guess I could say the same, like I was obviously not mentally fit either because I stood. So, you go through things in the relationship, and like I was just saying with her, like, it's only but so much damage you can deal with in the dynamic in order for you to just be like, yo, this ain't it. I gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. Like, same cheating, same shit that always usually happens in this day and age. He got caught up. I was just over it because it was the same chick multiple times, and I was just like, at this point, bruh, if you want to be with shorty, like, just go. Like, at this point, like, I remember I told him one time, he asked me, he was like, what would you, what the hell he asked? He said, what would you do if you were in love with two people at the same time, or something like that? Because that Drake song came on. It was like, I'm in love with two girls at the same time, and they tens or some I forget, but yeah. So I said if you're ever, and I didn't know at this time, so I was like, yo, if you are ever in that situation, make sure you choose her and not me, because fuck out of here, I'm not gonna be no competition. Like, if there's competition, then go with shorty. Like, I'd rather be with someone that actually knows they want to be with me.
Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't question it or even has the capacity to feel that they could be in love with somebody else, because I feel like you can't. I think you can have love for two people, but you can't be in love with two people.
Right.
Yeah, I think.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Definitely, because I ask a lot of people that, like, if they think that they could be in love with two women at the same time, and a lot of people misunderstand the question,
Exactly.
because it's like in love. Like when you're in love, I feel like you just in like all in it.
Mhm.
So how
Yeah.
can you be all in it for two people if
Yeah.
that's like living a double
Yeah.
life?
That's why I would like to clarify the question because a lot of people think when you say you're in love, they mistake it with have love.
Have love,
Yeah.
right,
Hmm.
right.
Yeah. I saw this thing on Instagram the other day and I thought it was a pretty good question. It said, "What advice would you give someone that's dating me?" So I'm gonna go first. Um, I think for G, I think I would tell them to have good communication. I think I would say to show to show gratitude. Because she's a giver. Like when she I don't say when she fucks with you because it sounds so thing, but when she like
But I'm all in.
when you're yeah when she's all in. She does everything she can for the person. So I would say that for them to just show the proper gratitude so that it doesn't go so you don't feel like it's unnoticed
Right, right.
or your efforts. And definitely communication. I think communication is very very
Yeah.
important, especially with you because you want to be clear
Right.
of
And
what's
because
going
you know
on.
my
And
past, so obviously.
yeah, exactly. And probably to dress well.
Keep up with the
Yeah, keep up
fashion.
with the fashion because she definitely does. Probably those three things. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so advice I would give for Jazz. Huh. I would say be very respectful because she comes with, she has her kid. We're not gonna specify, but she has a child. She has a big family, so her family is very important to her.
Hmm.
So if you're gonna date her, you have to be someone that's respectable and someone that they could like. Like honestly, they're actually really cool. So it's not even
Yeah.
like hard to
Yeah.
get along with your family. But
Hmm.
I mean, I'm a girl too, and I've
Yeah.
been around for a while, so
Yeah.
definitely respectable. I would say fun because nobody wants nobody boring. Like
Hmm.
you take her out, she deserves the world. We both been through mad shit, and why not? Um, keep up with her kinks
Oh
because
my god, this
this girl over here. You need that. Am I wrong?
girl. God.
You
Yeah.
gotta get to know her on a sexual level to know what she likes and be able to keep up with that. Because if not, then this is how people go astray, and we don't need that. So you gotta be very have a high stamina. Like, why you get embarrassed? That's what you
Cause
like.
yeah, but like
Own that shit, girl. Because
Oh
then how
god.
you gonna find Mr. Right? You gonna find Mr. Wrong and cheat on his ass.
No, I wouldn't do that.
And
I don't think I've ever cheated on anyone. Um,
you never cheated on your baby daddy?
I don't consider it cheating because by the end we were technically not together because
One of
we
those.
both understood that we were there mostly because of finances. We both couldn't go anywhere. Um, and I did, end up striking up conversation with someone, and I mean, it really didn't go anywhere. But so I don't consider it cheating because it's not like we were in an actual like relationship. Like we both understood that we were only there because
True.
we had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, that kind of
Yeah.
brings us into basically most people have gone through breakups because of cheating.
Word.
So,
Yes.
in that case, what
Wait.
is your cheating story? How did you find out in the
Yeah.
worst way that you were being cheated on? Or funny, because I got a
I
funny
gotta.
one.
It's not. At the
Anyone you want
time,
to
it
share.
wasn't funny. Now
Right,
it's
right.
funny because it's just like, how stupid could you be, right? Actually, I have a couple, and they're all from the same fucking person. One time, they sent a picture. This was back in like 20. This was like 10, 15 years ago.
Was it an
It was
email?
no. It was over the phone.
Mm.
But back then, the phones, um, you know, like when you start a group chat now, like you kind of see who's in there or whatever. Back then, you would have to kind of like dig in to see who's in this chat, right?
Okay.
So anyway, so he sent a picture, and then when I went to like save it or whatever, I saw that he sent it to two other people. Yo.
He was
At the
outside.
time, it was not funny. Now I'm like, bro, how? If you're gonna do it, can you be smarter about it? Can
Guys
you
are
like,
not smart when they cheat
can you please like
at all.
try and use your brain when you do it? Um,
You ever wonder that? Why
Huh?
guys always get caught cheating and most of the time women don't?
I know a lot of people say it's because technically we're like smarter or whatever, but I think it's because it's so. I guess it takes, depending on the person, right? I think it takes a lot more for a woman to get to that point that because you know they say that when women cheat,
But
it's
beside all
emotional.
that, beside all that,
No, hold on. So I feel like it takes somebody, it takes a woman a lot more to get there. So their strategies, I guess, are a little different. And then men, it's kind of like, well, some men just do it because they just want to. So it's just
I
it's
guess,
just
but
easy,
like
I
the
guess.
actual action of being caught, like
Yeah, I feel like they just maybe either one they just get too comfortable, they're maybe a little too excited that they don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I can't speak for a man, but I just feel like maybe that.
'cause I know girls who be cheating and have cheated for years. I never got caught, and I'm like me. I would get caught. That's why I
Yeah.
don't do it because
Yeah.
I first of all I'm a bad liar,
Yeah.
and I just I don't understand it.
Yeah. And
Or also it could be like maybe because men aren't as prone to like go through a woman's phone as a female would do that.
I mean, the people I've dealt with have gone through my phone all the time. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess it depends. I mean, it depends on the person, but yeah, I guess. Um, what's another funny one? this, this other time, he got home drunk, and it was whatever hours of the night. So I went through his phone because by then it was already like on a regular basis that it's just like, well, you know, I know I'm gonna find something. So it was a whole conversation or whatever. So I was like, what the hell? He was like, oh, I think my phone just dialed by accident.
Wow. He just didn't know what to say.
I was like, bro, this is a whole conversation. Yeah, I think my phone was just in my pocket.
That's what I mean. Like y'all not even smart about it.
Oh, I'm so glad I can just laugh.
It's because he didn't think he was gonna get caught, so he didn't
Yeah,
even have
yeah.
an excuse in
And
his head.
and then by then, granted, in a sense, it's kind of also, I have to take some blame because by then it already happened so many times, and I took him back that well, he doesn't give a shit now because it's like obviously you're gonna take me back. So what the fuck
He
do
got
I care?
sloppy
Why
with
would
it.
I yeah, that was really funny.
Yeah, I can't. It's funny though, like when you're young, we all did, like everybody. That's why you know what I'm saying we could talk about these things because y'all probably sitting there listening, like yeah, girl, like oh yup,
Yeah.
shit happened all the time. I was fucking with some guy. It was not one of my exes, but I was just messing with somebody and he like had like a basement apartment, whatever. So I go downstairs. I think he was like doing something, whatever. I go downstairs and I see like a lube wrapper on the floor. So I'm like, I already knew he had some chick over, whatever. So I'm sitting on the bed, I'm tight, OD tight, sitting there. He comes downstairs, like nothing, fucking whatever the fuck he had, juice in his hand, whatever. And I'm just sitting there and I'm looking at him. He's like, what happened? I'm like, yo, I pointed to the shit on the floor. I'm like, yo, there's a fucking lube wrapper on the floor. Like, the fuck? He's like, yo, I use it as lotion for my legs. I hope he watched.
Yeah. I remember when I heard this story.
I was like, oh no.
Oh my gosh. It's our producers over here are laughing.
Yo, because that shit was lame.
Yo,
But this is people just think off the fly of what to say. Like, damn, I'm cold. What the fuck? What do I say? Like, it was funny though. I give that shit to you. I give it to you because that shit was funny. That shit. Because, bro, if you got fucking lube on your legs, that's just nasty. And it's unacceptable either way. That shit mad sticky on your legs, your fucking leg hairs.
Oh god, yo, that was probably one of the funniest shits I ever heard.
Only me.
So hilarious.
Only me.
Hilarious.
But on a serious tip, shit, Instagram, how I found out I was being cheated. Instagram, emails. Back in the day, I had seen one of my exes, whatever
I've seen
girl
emails before.
he was fucking with, sent him pictures of them having sex in a fucking email.
Yeah.
And I saw
Oh
that
my
shit.
god, this other time, yo, I have stories for days. This other time, I went over his house, and this was pre-child. I went over his house, and he was living with his family at the time. Anyways, one of his nieces was like, "Oh, kind of like, did you know so and so sleeps with so and so?" And I was like, "What?" And she was like really little, so I'm like, "What?" And whatever, she just said it again, and I confronted him. He's like, "No, kids, they're what?" And I'm like, "Kids don't lie, bro, because how does she know this name?" And then it turned out, yep, he had brought her over, and they were just. By then, I had seen like the pictures on email, because of course, he wanted me to check something for him on email. Gave me his password. I go and whatever, and then I saw the pictures, and they were having this whole, pretty much relationship. It's
Shit is wild. It's funny now.
It's funny now.
In
the moment, it fucking sucks, right? But I mean,
it's all an experience. It
yeah.
happens to all of us. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. But it's always something to learn from, and that's okay. And that's the beautiful thing about life. Like, you just can continue to grow and move on and take what you get out of the experience and just be better, learn, deal with better, actually.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of, it's sucky experiences to go through, but it prepares you for things to look out for, and just things that you just should avoid, and basically which is not to put up with. Right? Yeah.
It's a part of a process to learn your self-worth. So when you're younger, you don't know what that is. You just dealing with people who you like, who you're attracted to, and just put up with the shit until you get tired of it.
Yeah. Eventually, it all comes to an end. Yep.
So we did some. We asked the internet. We asked the peoples their experiences.
Yes.
One of them was they found a woman's panties in her man's pocket doing laundry, which is crazy, because it's like, I guess in the moments you don't think about what you're doing, and you just get
that could be it too. That you just so into what you're doing that you don't think of what
the consequences.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. This one says, it said, LMAO, it all started when I went through his phone and saw a conversation with a friend. That caused the domino effect of me not giving a single fuck. Then my ass kept getting caught cheating through the phone because I don't delete text. So that's true though. Like, a lot of people will stay in relationships because they'll be like, all right, fuck it, I'm going to get my one up. And I'm going to just be tit for tat. And that's just how the relationship goes.
Yeah.
Which that's hard. That's stressful.
You don't get anywhere with that. You're just in this cycle of what?
But then that goes into what we talked about in the first episode. We was like, people stay together because it's cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
that's the sucky part, right? It's just, I've been there. It's just have to be more financially educated, I guess, to make the right choices, and that way you don't end up in a situation like that where you have nowhere to go and you don't have the means to go anywhere.
Multiple streams of income is the answer.
So I have this story somebody shared with me. It's kind of long, so I'm going to try and read as fast as I can without sounding like weird. It says, well, before I went to the army, I was probably messing with 6 or 7 women at once. So I'm going all the way out to basic training in Missouri, and back then the only way you had contact in the world was through letters. So for the first few months, I was writing and receiving letters from each girl. Then one evening, I received a really thick envelope from the main girl. At first, I was all excited because I figured it would be full of pictures. But then I got to the barracks, opened it, and my mouth hit the floor. Inside the envelope were photocopies of all the letters I wrote to all of the girls in
Damn.
the last few months. She told me that she had a feeling about one girl and reached out to her, and that girl had a feeling about another girl. This is why you had to have your hoes in different area codes.
No, that story
Oh
got
my
it.
god. Next, had a feeling about another girl. Next thing you know, 5 or 6 of them met in the city for dinner
Wow.
and swapped a ton of stories. LOL, fuck my life. I was screwed. So here I am in the middle of nowhere. There's no way to contact these women, which means I can't do the damage control that I usually would have done. So I'm sitting there on my bunk staring at the ceiling, and I finally said to myself, well, I've been playing the game for a long time, so it shouldn't come as a big surprise that finally it caught up to me. So right then and there, I grabbed a notepad and I started writing, and when all was said and done, I wrote a letter to each of the girls, and I didn't hold anything back. In fact, I was brutally honest. For example, if I liked one girl only because she gave good head and she knew a lot about sports, that's exactly what I told her. Finally, my last letter was to the main girlfriend. I didn't even bother apologizing profusely because it wouldn't have made any difference. But I did remind her that out of all the women she met, she was the only one I truly had any respect for.
That's respect.
I even went as far as to tell her that there was another girl out there who was likely going to be the one. When I put the letters in the mailbox, I vividly remember feeling this great sense of weight being lifted off my shoulders. For the first time in my life, I realized that it's best to just man up and be honest. Don't get me wrong, I am by far no angel, but I learned that it's better to be straightforward than spend unnecessary time and energy lying, because the longer you lie, the more stress builds inside of you. And too much stress is never a good thing, mentally or physically. Anyways, a few weeks go by, and then unbelievably, I received letters from all of them. And the craziest shit happened. They all forgave me. It blew my
Wow.
mind. The only one who didn't write back to me was the main one. Now, a few more months go by, and I actually graduate basic training. So here I am in the airport, and I decided to call the main one. I figured I might as well let her know that I graduated and I was coming home. I was prepared for her to hang up on my face or not even answer the phone, but she did, and she let me speak. They are blah, 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 blah. She said, go home, go see your family, going out with friends. And the moment you're done with that, make it your business to get to my house. And when I saw her, she flipped out on me, then fucked my brains out.
Oh, shit. So he got what he wanted anyway.
So now here I am, back to square one, except this time I basically got the green light to continue doing what I was doing. But by then, maturity actually creeped into my life. So I decided to cowboy up and focus on being more of a man and less of a whore.
Wow. Kudos to you. That was a great story, actually. Thank you.
You imagine?
Wow. You know what, though? Honesty will really get you a long way.
I mean, yeah, right?
But even if we don't want to hear it, we'll respect
Yeah.
it. And respect
Yeah.
is basically, what you want from a person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, respect is definitely.
And then you make your decision from there.
Yeah.
Wow. That's dope.
That's crazy. But yeah, that's quite a story.
I like that. All right, so the last story. This is funny. Okay, so I already know who sent this. I put like an anonymous link. Like we put the anonymous link, but just off
Anonymous.
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 What did I say?
Ominous.
Anonymous
Do it again.
link. Say it again.
Anonymous.
Anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
So we put an anonymous link. I don't give a fuck. We put an anonymous link on the profile. I already know who it is, but it's a funny story. All right, so let me read it. It said, my ex cheated on me and started fucking with my friend that lives in my building. So we're going to discuss this because we're not going to just leave that out there like that because that's just not how the story went.
Oh.
Okay. So this was my first relationship, like a puppy love relationship. Literally.
This was your relationship.
Huh?
This was your relationship.
Yes, this is about me. He's talking about me. I am the ex that cheated with his friend from the guy from the building. Okay?
Uh-huh.
So this ain't anonymous no more on my behalf. If you know who the other person is, but we're not gonna speak on that. Mind you, this was like my first puppy love relationship. I was like 12 years old. Literally.
Oh my gosh.
We did not even have sex.
Yeah.
So whatever. it was like those relationships back in the day where it's kind of like we all kind of had crushes on everybody from the area, blah blah blah, whatever. Um, he was cheating with one of our mutual friends' sisters, and I was talking to other people. Like, it was just messy. Mind you, again, we were 12 years old.
12, yeah.
So, so whatever, I ended up making friends with one of the guys from his building. And we just was best friends and remained friends for a really long time before we even started dating and did anything together. So I technically did not fuck with the person from your building. Like I didn't fuck him. Like we was not. I didn't stop fucking with you or cheat on you and go fuck with the next dude. That's not my style. But I know you still upset and salty about it. It's always love. And we just gonna leave that there. Because I told you if you wanted to say more of your story, the floor was open. And that's all you wanted to say. So we gonna leave it like that. And it's always love. Peace, love, and light to you, boo.
It's fucking hilarious. I tell you, my friend, I tell you.
Okay, what's one thing aside from cheating that kills a relationship?
One thing aside from cheating, probably, mm, probably boredom. Like when you get bored of each other, because then you don't have any conversations, you don't do anything together. I guess, yeah, like if you get to a point where you just don't even want to be around the person.
I like that one.
Yeah, because then it's just like, blah.
Yeah.
It's just like, what are we doing here then?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, so, okay, so let me ask you this. If, let's say you're in a long-term relationship. I mean, it does get boring once in a while. It's not always going to be, yeah, madly in love and having fun all the time.
Yeah, I guess to that I say, I think it depends on the connection you have with someone because, like, let's say, whatever, I was with this person for almost 10 years and a lot of shit went down, but it's not like we ever got bored of each other. We always had fun and, we had like our inside jokes. Like we were both like very, we had very good sense of humors. So it never got to the point where I was just like bored. I guess it depends on the connection you have with somebody.
That's true.
I feel like if you are in a relationship with someone that you really get along with and that you have, common interests, and I feel like you can't really get bored if you have like that connection with someone. Yeah. I think probably to get to that point you weren't really looking for maybe a relationship. Or you thought you knew the person, but then you end up finding out that they're not how you thought they were. I think that's what would probably get you to be sick of them. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Got you. I would say lack of communication because once y'all can't talk, then it leads to assumptions.
Yeah.
Assumptions lead to your brain going everywhere, making up things in your head. Then you start accusing, and it just becomes a very toxic environment. I will say though, a lot of us don't know how to talk. So, like for me, what I used to do was take the initiative, like, because I'm good at communicating. So I would try to not teach, but try to like take the lead to show that communication is okay. So I don't know, like just at least try.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there are some people that hold back and they just don't know either how to articulate their words, how to explain themselves. Some people are just closed off. Yeah, like that's why they don't know how to communicate because they either didn't learn how to or that's just in their personality.
Right. Yeah. But that's not an excuse. So it's like at a certain point in your life, you have to grow up and do better. And if you want to be in a relationship,
I was
that's
gonna say,
part of it. You
yeah,
know?
yeah. If you're initiating a relationship, you should know what kind of comes with it.
That's another
at least a
problem.
mature relationship, anyway.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. We all jump into relationships and half of us not even ready to be.
Yeah.
to be in one. You wouldn't be at least emotionally stable, mentally stable.
Yep.
To be
For
able
sure.
to give to somebody else, you have to, be good within you.
Yes.
All right, well, we're definitely going to leave you with weekly wisdom because that's just what we do. First one is short. Things taken for granted get taken. Second, there's no need to keep overthinking about the things that hurt. You can't change what happened and you can't make those memories go away. All you can do is learn from them. Learn to accept them and move on. Bleh. What the fuck is wrong with me today? Okay. There is no need to keep overthinking about the things that hurt. You can't change what happened and you can't make those memories go away. All you can do is learn from them. Learn to accept them and move on. The past is a gift, and the things that hurt teach us the most important lessons of all. So that is what we have today. Thank you for tuning in. Of course, thumbs up and subscribe. Reach us at Blunt Wisdom. You can find our personal IG handles there.
Yeah.
G Gorgeous, Jazz _ Jazz _
Yay. Good job, because I definitely do not remember that freaking thing. Yeah, definitely follow us on Instagram, and we have a Twitter. That way, if you guys want to share any of your stories or you want to send us anything, it'll be through there. That way you guys can share what you got to share. But yes, comment, like, subscribe, the usual. And we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.